Next, we have a very small but conveniently sized hatchet coffee pot with butterfly ear handles. Opening this up, hello, welcome to WayPoint Survival. Today, we're going to talk about what a 1930s hobo would have carried in his blanket roll. Stay tuned. Now, before we get started in this, I just want to make some notations. I get a lot of comments from people who are afraid for me walking on the rails, and they're afraid that I'm going to get hit by a train or something like that. Well, first of all, let me explain this to you. This is a siding. It is used some, but not a lot, maybe 1 or 2 times a day. Also, the trains don't go very fast through here. I'm really close to some crossings, so they will blow the whistle. Another thing, as you can see, the rails where I'm standing here are quite shiny. The rails over here, not shiny at all. They normally store extra cars along this spur line here. So again, this is a pretty safe place. And another thing to know, I was talking to my friend Craig the other day, and he was telling me that, you can actually hear trains for a half a mile to a mile away as the tracks will actually begin to sing. You can hear them ring, and the steel will have a ring to it, kind of like a singing sound when a train is coming. And so if your hearing's halfway decent, mine's pretty good, you can usually hear the train long before it gets to you. So I just wanted to make that little caveat statement before we get started. So first of all, I want you to notice how this is carried. It's carried over one shoulder. And I want to make sure and point this out at the very beginning. Never pack anything hard right in the middle. If you're going to carry extra clothes, extra socks, underwear, shirt, that sort of thing, you would keep that in the soft place here, and then all of the other hardware and goods you would carry here. Now, a lot of hobos would often wear both pairs of clothes, but they would often also carry extra clothes if they had them. Now, this can be carried on either shoulder, so it's actually fairly lightweight. So you can carry it on one side, or you can swap it, carry it on the other. You can easily see why this was a very popular way to backpack back in the day, and I'm surprised that more people don't do it now. So here's a good spot right here in the ballast, and we've got a little bit of a grade, so we get a little bit of a better angle on it. And you can see, first of all, I've got my tin cup tied to the outside. You don't want this packed away because you're going to want to get a drink from time to time. Now, hobos would carry jugs of water. Sometimes it would be a glass jug back in the day before they had plastic, and after that it would be plastic jugs, most notably some sort of a bleach jug, and we'll be showing that to you later on in another video. This is tied on at the end where it's real easy to get loose, and notice that the cord has been whipped to keep it from unraveling. That's very important, done on both sides. So you need to do that if you're going to make this kind of arrangement. And within just a few seconds, these are just simple granny knots. There's nothing fancy about this because, again, just easy to take on and off. And now we have our cup and we can get a drink from a stream or wherever we might be, fellow hobo, or if we're around a place, get us some coffee around the campfire. Make sure and stay tuned to the end. There's a bonus for you. It's also tied here at this side, and again, we are not doing anything fancy. 2 or 3 half hitches, and that will be enough to hold it. You don't need real fancy knots, but it is important that you tie this securely around each side so that your gear doesn't fall out. In the previous video, I showed you how to tie these, and I'll go ahead and show you that again in this video just in case you haven't seen the other one, but I would recommend that you go and watch it. So as you open this, you want to roll it kind of backwards like this. Now this is an M1910 shelter half. You can get these at What Price Glory online. So this will be appropriate for the hobo era. A previous video I used the green one, that's actually World War II. So if you're doing 19 teens, 20s, or 30s, you want one of these tan ones. And as you can see here, we've got our wool blanket also rolled up inside with everything else. Now that we've got it all rolled out, you can get a good idea of what we're carrying. Again, it's very, very minimal. The only thing that you might add to this in this middle soft section that goes over the shoulder would be some socks, underwear, a spare shirt, things like that. Anything that's really soft. You wouldn't want anything that's hard like these other items to sit where your shoulder is, as I told you before. First thing that we come to is a tobacco pouch. It does have a drawstring on each side. There's a snap here in the middle. And when we pull this open, we find that it has a rubber interior. And this is where we carry our little bit of lye soap. So that makes it easy to take care of. And we put it away a little wet. And the rubber, of course, helps it keep from leaking on everything else. So that makes it really handy. Next, we have a small fry pan. Very convenient, perfect size for 2 or 3 eggs, maybe a couple of pieces of bacon sliced in half, and not weighing very much, good sturdy steel. Next, we have a very small but conveniently sized hatchet, held together here with a little leather thong. And as you can see, this is just a perfect sized little hatchet. It's got a good wedge for splitting wood. And for a hobo, this would be absolutely perfect, especially if he had to jungle by himself. He could get his firewood and everything together. Plus, it makes a handy little hammer for these stakes. That way, if he's in a place where he doesn't have much wood, there's 3 stakes. These are lightweight. Easy tap those in, as I showed you in the previous video. Our next item is kept in a little muslin drawstring bag, wrapped up in a piece of brown paper to help cushion it. And this is what we showed you the last time, just a mirror for shaving and for grooming, keeping oneself looking nice. A lot of times in the old days when you rode on steam trains specifically, they had coal that they burnt, and so you would get a lot of ash and cinders. It was very dirty, so you would make sure that you would clean that up before you got to the next location. The next item that we have in the bag is just a small Army Navy New Testament. So this dates back to World War I. Get a good look at that. Many of the hobos were religious men. They believed in the power of prayer, they had faith in God, and also remember that they often spent time at the Salvation Army or at city missions. So they were always out there and listening to religious services, would very often hear stories about the prodigal son. Craig told me that he's probably heard 2,000 sermons on the prodigal son. But this would be something that could be given away to the hobos, and it would give them something to read as a source of faith and comfort far away from home, and just become a better man when he's out on the road and facing the rigors and trials of the 1930s and the Great Depression. Next item we come to is this leather bag. It's got a drawstring held together by a little pull there. We open that up, and the first thing that we see sticking out is a toothbrush with a bone handle. These would date all the way back into the early to middle 1800s, Civil War and on. You could get these pretty commonly. We also have this metal container. Opening this up, we have a large safety pin, we have some cordage, and then we have some salt and pepper. And to keep these from spilling, you open these caps up and you put a little piece of cork inside of here so that you don't lose your salt and pepper while you're traveling around. The next item that we would carry, which would be very important to a hobo, just wrapped up in a bit of cloth here, would be a little bit of oil. This would be for the knife, for the axe, a little hatchet, and then of course a sharpening stone. And these are just rolled up on either end of the cloth, ends folded in like this. So you fold that in, roll that a bit, fold this side over like this, and roll that, and then just kind of roll them toward each other until you can stack them on top. Take a bit of cord, wrap around, and then just tie it like you would your shoe. So it's easy to get loose, easy to work with. Next item a hobo would always carry would be a pair of pliers. These are just so useful, from getting things out of the fire to moving around firewood. A lot of them back in the day, one side was sharpened into a screwdriver, so you had a flathead screwdriver as well. Just super useful for anything that you might need, for repairs, for pulling needles through heavy garments and leather and stuff like that. Always have to have a pair of pliers. Another item we carry in here is this little wooden tube with the lid off of it, And this is for the toothbrush. When it's wet, just goes in there, slides down there. It helps keep it clean. We're also carrying a pair of scissors. This would be good for sewing, but also good for trimming up the hair and beard to go into town and find a job. And then in this little old bouillon cubes tin, we have another safety pin with some buttons. We have some more buttons here from the Pennsylvania Railroad. And then we have a large safety pin as well, as you can see down on the bottom. Can't really ever have too many safety pins. And so those are all the contents of the leather bag. The next item is a tin can, and it's been cut out with the edges crimped using the pliers. It's another reason why you need pliers to make things out of tin cans, because it has sharp edges, so you fold them over and crimp them with the pliers. But inside here, we have not cloves, but you shake it, there's coffee in here. Then we also carry some spare matches. You see this? So, and this is a kind of a clever match case. You open it this way, you can see the matches, and if you tap it like this and pull it, let me get that just right, it will open up, and it's like they magically disappear. There's a little catch back in here, and I'm not sure why this was made that way, but anyway, as you can see, no matches. Tap it again, pull it out, and there the matches are. So pretty clever. Our next item is a small coffee pot with butterfly type handles. Again, all metal, so it's not going to burn off in the fire. Got a nice little ring here on top for lifting the lid. And then we have a number of items inside. The largest item that you see first is a can. You always carry a can of beans. A can of something, but beans are nutritious and filling, and they're easy to heat up. Plus it gives you an extra can. So this would be pork and beans. And this is your backup food in case you get to a place and you don't have anything to eat. You at least have something. This is also something that you would always bring into camp for the mulligan stew. You didn't want to arrive empty-handed, and the rule often was if you wanted to take something out of the pot, you had to put something in the pot. The next item we're carrying in the coffee pot, and I showed you this in the last video, is a small travel size razor. So we've got the holder here for the blade, the handle screws on like this, and then a number of blades to go with it. And this would be something that every hobo would want to have. If you showed up in town and you were scruffy and ill-kempt, it was okay to have a beard, it was okay to have a mustache, but you did not want to look like you were poorly groomed. A lot of stubble growing and all of that, you might be considered a tramp or a bum and not a working man, which is what a hobo was. Very big distinct difference. Most modern hobos are not really following the hobo code. The next item that we have is a candle. This would be important for writing letters. Many men did keep contact with families back home if they were of that mind, or sometimes they had a wife and kids. It just wasn't any work locally, so they would write back and let them know what was going on. This is also tremendous help in fire starting. You would use the match to get this started, and then this would burn a long time, and you could put it up under your firewood. And again, matches only burn so long, but this will burn. There's a couple of hours here that you could use on just a stub of a candle. We also have, wrapped up in a bit of old t-shirt, we have our hobo hooks, and we showed you that in the last video. These are made from the ends or the hook ends of wire hangers, and they're used in conjunction with the hobo belt. Again, if you haven't seen that video, I would encourage you to go and check it out. But we wrap it up in some cloth, keep it from rattling around so much. Next, we just have 3 wooden clothespins. We've got the rope that we use to tie everything up with. We could stretch that out between something, a couple of trees, and once we've done our laundry and maybe we've boiled up using a large pot, you can hang your stuff up to dry, so the next day when you go in to work, you don't look and smell so bad. The pot, of course, can be used for heating up beans, boiling water, making coffee, carrying water in from the creek. There's just 101 uses for this. It's got a large enough opening that you can easily get in there to clean it out. And this would be exactly the thing that you would look for, this size. This is really unique. And give a shout out to my friend Dave Canterbury, both for this pot, this frying pan, as well as the Pennsylvania Railroad buttons that I showed you in the sewing kit. The wool blanket is just a standard wool blanket, and there is the overall general shape of the M1910. You can see it has a triangle on one side and it's flat on the other. That's why we can put this top end up here on a tree, and then we just peg the other two down to the ground. It does come with loops. You can see that right there. There's a loop there, here, 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 down there, and another one here. And then if you have both shelter halves, they button together to make an actual pup tent. So these ropes would remain much cleaner and whiter because they're covered under this flap here where the two tents meet. And the ones that will be staked into the dirt would of course be much dirtier. Now, to put this together into a roll, we take the triangular part and we fold it in. Once that canvas corner is folded in, we take the wool blanket and we have to fold it here as well a little bit because it's just a little bit too long. Now, being as the shelter is canvas, it's going to be somewhat waterproof, so we want to try to keep this as dry as possible. So that's why this goes to the inside. Next, we begin to arrange our materials. Coffee pot, can, and leather bag with our toiletry accessories in it. And notice that the bottoms are all facing toward the outside. The reason that's important is because this is going to be in a horseshoe shape. And so the bottom is going to be here. If something should happen and that should come untied, I don't want anything falling out of the bottom. So I'm keeping all of the ends toward the outside. So then frying pan, put the Bible and such in the middle. And then arrange this, try to keep this together as much as possible, just like that. And then you want to take and you want to start rolling this. So you fold it in all the way across. You get it nice and tight, and you just kind of roll it a little bit at a time. Just go across like this, keeping everything tucked in as best you can. Do this. And then you just keep rolling it. When we get it up to where we're almost completely rolled up, but we've got a little bit of a flap left over, we're going to fold this under. So you fold this outer flap in just a little bit to make a smoother edge. Go and fold that in. That also puts these cords to the inside. And then continue to just roll it up like that until it's completely done. To tie it, I like to start with a slip knot, just a simple slip knot, the same kind you would use if you were starting a crochet chain. And we come over this end and we gather it together and we pull it tight just like this. Now, this is our side that has the coffee pot in it. So because it's a large coffee pot on this side, bottom facing that end, and the other end has the large frying pan, they're much less likely to slip out even if this does get a little bit loose. But we're going to go ahead and crank down on that a little bit. All right, now this next part seems a little tricky, but it really isn't. Come out along this way, come underneath with all the rope. And it's a good idea if you cut this cord to length after you've tied it one time, then it fits every time better. Then all you're going to do is come around this rope like this in a half hitch. Just like that. And tighten that down. That's all you do. You work your way down a little bit more. Hold this. Come around underneath like this. And the same thing. We come up through here just like this. Up, up, up. And pull it tight. When we get down to the other end, this is the side that has the frying pan in it. Again, we want to gather it kind of fold it and pinch it and gather it like this, and then come around, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to do another half hitch right here. We're going to crank this really tight, and then we're going to come around and we're going to tie it a couple of more times. And again, I'm not doing anything fancy here, no special knots. This is just a couple of half hitches to hold that in, and that should be enough tension to hold that in place. Now we folded it into the horseshoe shape, and what we've got to do is we've got to come over here to this other side and go around here, and we're going to do a couple more half hitches. Like that, just to hold that end. That's to keep them together. Then we'll come over here. So now we've got a double line. I'm going to come around and put a little bit of a half hitch on this side. Then get the cup, run this through the handle, and then secure it with a couple more half hitches so that it's ready to hand and really easy to get off. I'll probably put 3 half hitches on it. That'll hold just about anything. There you go. You can see what that looks like right here. Just 3 half hitches. We don't have a lot of space here. It's just got to be able to fit over top of your shoulder and your body. And then this end will open up pretty good to go around your shoulder. Now before we let you go, there's a little bonus here. I'm going to show you what else I'm carrying in my pockets. First of all, we have a comb. Secondly, a little fishing reel set. It has a sinker on it and a hook already attached. You can just drop this down over a log or over the edge of a bridge, do some fishing for lunch. We're also carrying an ever dry match safe. There are matches in there. This is made from brass. We got the spoon. Always keep the spoon with you. Keep it in your pocket. That way it's easy to get to if you come upon an emergency mulligan stew situation, right? We also have a nice pruning hook blade. Very useful for working around the farms, things that an agricultural hobo might need to use. And then last, we're carrying this. If a fella could find some fuel, he might carry this. Just a nice little trench-style brass lighter. You could always have an extra fuel fire starter besides the matches. And so with everything in his pocket and everything packed, you'd simply take this on over top of the head like that, fasten it in so it sits really nice on the shoulder, a nice soft spot, and he'd be good to go. Ready to hit the rails again, ready to seek another adventure. This is James Bender for WayPoint Survival. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Also make sure and check out the links in the description box below just under the More button. While you're down there, you'll find the link for our WayPoint Survival digital class. And this is where you can train in the comfort and convenience of your own home the top 20 skills that we consider to be the most important from our Phase 1 Survival and Bushcraft class. You'll also find a link for waypointsurvival.com, and this is where you can sign up to take in-person classes at our beautiful training facility here in Southern Ohio. And if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to the channel. We'd really appreciate it. And when you do subscribe, make sure and press that bell button so that you can stay notified of all of our upcoming videos, and we'll talk to you next time.